Howdy, partner. Let's rank some Toy Story. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see from the title, background, and thumbnail, today we are ranking every Toy Story movie, starting from 1 to the newest boy on the block, 5. As you can see, I'm in my finest attire. Hey, how's it going? If you haven't watched my Toy Story 5 conversation, I just posted that the other day. If you want to get my full thoughts on Toy Story 5, that video is out. If you haven't watched that and you don't know, I'm a huge Toy Story fan, been a lifelong fan since I was a small child. So I've practically grew up with this franchise. Like I was like not even conceived or made by the first one came out, but I was maybe 1 years old when Toy Story 2 came out. I don't remember exactly what date that came out, but I've loved Toy Story ever since I was a small child. So this is a franchise that near and dear to my heart. And I just want to celebrate Toy Story because, I fucking love this franchise and I want to rank every single one. So come along with me, partners, and we're going to round up Woody's Roundup, all 5 Toy Story movies, and put them in here, guys, for a big ass ranking. So I'm going to start with some hot takes. Going to start with the hot takes. Coming in at number 5 on the list, Toy Story 1. I know. Dodging shots. I'm dodging shots. I know that's sacrilegious as shit. Putting the very first Toy Story as number 5. Now, okay, to preference. All of these movies are great. Okay, 1 through 5. They're all fucking great. Okay, just because I have Toy Story 1 on the bottom does not mean it's a bad movie. It's a classic, man. I mean, come on. It started the 3D generation of animated movies. I mean, you wouldn't have any of these other big franchises like Ice Age, Bugs Life, anything you could think, Monsters Inc. You wouldn't have anything without Toy Story. So trust me, it's a great movie. I mean, Woody in that movie, I love the way Tom Hanks played Woody in that movie. I think that's the only movie you're going to get out of Woody with this sassiness. He just has this sassy attitude in that first movie, and he's kind of a villain, but I kind of like him for that, just because of the fact that he's just kind of an asshole.
I'm going to teach that boy a lesson.
Yeah, sure. You go ahead. Melt him with your scary laser.
I've some stun to kill.
Ah, great. Yeah, and if anyone attacks us, we can blink them to death.
I think the word you're searching for is Space Ranger.
The word I'm searching for, I can't say, because there's preschool toys.
He's just kind of a douche to the other, like, not even really all the toys, but just some of the toys. He just has a smart ass, like, attitude. That's probably where I get it from. But I just remember in that first movie, he had a smart ass attitude all the time. Then of course, you get the Buzz storyline. I mean, like, there's not much I can say about that original movie other than it is a classic for a reason. It is a reason why we have 5 movies deep into this franchise. It is a classic movie by no stretch of the imagination. The reason why it's at the bottom of my list is it's the one I don't gravitate towards the most. I don't know what it was, but even as a kid, I never gravitated towards Toy Story 1. I think I've maybe seen Toy Story 1 like 4 times in my life, where the other ones I can count on both hands, toes, and other people's feet of how many times I've seen Toy Story 2, 3, but never 1. I never touched 1. I don't know what it was. I had the VHS, and I would watch moments from Toy Story 1, especially like the Sid toys at the end. I love the creepiness of that, but I don't know what it was. It just, as a kid, it never jived with me. I thought it was a little too slow as a kid. There were moments where I'm like, we're doing a lot of talking and not a lot of doing anything. We're just talking. And of course, as a teenager, adult, I rewatched it and I still kind of felt the same way. Where I'm like, it's a good movie. It is a great movie. I just prefer the other ones. So that's why Toy Story is at number 5. Coming in at number 4, we're going to put, honestly, Toy Story 4. Now, if you've seen my Toy Story 5 conversation that I posted the other day, I was wrecking hard on Toy Story 4. I mean, like, that movie was fucking awful, right? That's how I've been feeling for about 6 years now. So when I watched Toy Story 4 those years ago, back in 2019, when it came out the same weekend as Child's Play, that was, to give a little bit of a story, that was a funny weekend, going to see a Child's Play remake about a killer doll, and then go turn it around and go see Toy Story 4. That was a very interesting weekend at the movies back in 2019. But I remember when they announced Toy Story 4, I hated it. Because to me, Toy Story 3 was the perfect ending. It was the perfect fucking ending. And I hate that they announced Toy Story 4. Of course, I was excited because, again, Toy Story horror here. But I was excited. I was like, okay, cool, we're getting Toy Story 4. But I kind of don't want it. Kind of don't need it. And so it was one of those where I'm like, I don't want this movie. I don't even want to watch this movie. And of course, every trailer that would come out, every poster, everything just kept telling me, like, I don't want it. I don't want to see this. I mean, I'm going to go see it, but I don't want to see this. We don't need this, Even hearing people like, this is Woody's ending. This is movies about Woody. And I'm like, I don't care. I love the ending of Toy Story 3 so much that I don't care what you gave me afterwards. I'm going to hate it. And that's exactly what I did. When I walked into Toy Story 4, I didn't give any of it a chance. I didn't give any of it sort of a fair shake. I just was like, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. Walked out of the movie being like, that was fucking garbage and I hate it. And I haven't watched it since 2019, going on 6-7 years now. I have not watched Toy Story 4 because I just had such a strong hate towards that movie. But in preparation for this ranking, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it another fair shake. I'm going to give it another shot and see, do I hate this movie even more or do I like it now? Maybe 6-7 years later, now that we have another one. And I'll tell you what, since I watched it, I literally just got done watching it maybe 40 minutes ago. And I got to say, it is, I don't do this a lot with movies, but I would say that has to be a turnaround movie for me. I walked away really actually liking that movie. Now, I don't know if it's because I walked in with the mindset that I have now after watching Toy Story 5, where I'm like, okay, Toy Story 4 is wrapping up Woody's story, Toy Story 5 is wrapping up Jesse's story, and maybe potentially Toy Story 6 is going to wrap up Buzz's story. I would like to have that be a thing because I think that'd be nice. But I don't know what it was like this time around. Maybe just because it's been 7 years now and I've come to learn with the fact that, okay, we're not going to fucking stop after Toy Story 3, clearly. So I'm going to be a little bit more of a, nicer to Toy Story 4. I don't know, but I like Toy Story 4 this time around. I loved the opening. I remember when I watched it in the theater, I was like, fuck this opening. You're going back and you're meddling with shit between Toy Story 2 and 3? No, like I was pissed. But now I'm like, no, I actually like that. I like seeing how Woody, being the leader that he is and just saving the RC car and having to say bye to Bo Peep and actually not take the chance to go in the box with Bo Peep and everything. And like, I liked that. I liked seeing more of that era before Toy Story 3 happened, because by the time we get to Toy Story 3, all the toys are gone practically, except the ones in the toy box. And so it's like, yeah, who did pick up Bo Peep? Where did RC go? Where did all these other characters that we saw in the first two movies, where did they go? And so I liked seeing that. I thought it was a beautifully shot fucking opening as well. Like amazingly shot. But outside of that, I remember when I watched it, I hated Forky. I was like, fucking Forky's annoying. He's the reason why Woody fucking didn't stay and like shit. And I was like, I actually liked Forky now. Thought he was a funny character. Is there moments when it's the joke of trash gets a little too, heavy-handed? Sure. But I thought they played it just enough to where it didn't get too on my nerves, but I was like, all right, cool, trash, funny. But, other than that, I liked everything else about the movie. In this movie, I actually liked how they utilizes Buzz better than I did in Toy Story 5, because I'm like, okay, yeah, Buzz is a little dumb in this one, listening to his inner voice, but I kind of like it because of the simple fact that, I liked it because of the fact that, yes, while it's dumb, while Buzz is like listening to his inner voice and it's dumb and everything, I just liked it for the simple fact that I'm like, okay, Buzz is actually trying to utilize some of the functions in his, again, I go back to, he uses his wings all the damn time. When has he ever used the buttons on his toy? When has he ever used that? You know what I mean? Like Woody's used it for situations where he pulled a string and someone gets distracted or whatever, but Buzz never utilized his little buttons. So I was like, okay, it's a sweet little thing that, Buzz is trying to listen to his inner voice, and his inner voice is his little buttons in his thing. It's better than what they did in Toy Story 5, where it was just, Buzz is just trying to tell Jessie the whole fucking time that he loves her. I'd rather take him listening to the buttons in his voice than him trying to get with Jessie the whole movie. But we'll get to that in a minute. So I was like, okay, I didn't mind Buzz in this one, and I know a lot of people hated Gabby Gabby, and I hated Gabby Gabby when I watched the movie. I actually kind of liked her story, where she's not really a villain. I mean, yeah, she has villainous qualities, and she wanted a voice box, but you kind of understand her reasoning for it. You kind of understand why she wants a voice box. And then I like how they wrapped up her story at the end, where, yeah, do I, at the time, I remember being pissed that Woody gave up his voice box. I was like, what the fuck? Fuck that. Woody would never. But then I'm looking at it, I'm like, no, that would be Woody. Woody would be the one to give up his voice box. Woody would do anything to help another toy, to help a kid, to save a toy, to do anything in terms of that's not that's not selfless. That's Woody. He's very selfless. So of course he would. And so, and of course, I like the way that, even though, yeah, she used the voice box for the first time, she got rejected by the kid she wanted. She ended up finding a kid anyways, and she was happy. And I think that's the whole reason why Woody did it in the first place, was because of the simple fact that, yes, I know, you may not want yeah, I may not want to give up my voice box, but if it's for the greater good and it's for you to get a kid one day, I'm willing to make that sacrifice. So I thought that decision was great. I'm like, okay, yeah, Woody would do something like that. He would give up his voice box and help another kid and help another toy out. So I thought that was great. I remember also I remember also when I watched it in 2019, I hated the fact that Woody left the gang. So I was like, what the fuck? He left the gang for a girl? That's stupid. And I'm like, no, actually, the whole movie he's been trying to find his purpose because he's utilized or understood now that, hey, I'm not the toy I once was. I'm not the favorite toy anymore. Jesse or these other, Forky, whoever. I'm not a favorite toy no more. And my time as a leader, my time as the favorite toy is gone. I need to find my purpose now. I've been servicing Kid or Andy. I've been servicing Andy and other toys so much that it's time for me to serve myself. It's time for me to find my place in the world. And I think, and I know they don't really like spell this out in the movie, but I kind of think it bothered him not taking the spot in the cardboard box next to Bo Peep all those years ago, because I feel like he thought my duty was to be with Andy. My duty was to stick with Buzz and all of them and make sure they're okay because they need me. And I think I like that story arc for Woody, and of course now seeing in Toy Story 5 how that has played out, that story arc, I like that for Woody. I like knowing, hey, he finally chose himself after being selfless for 3 movies now, worrying about Andy, worrying about Jesse, worrying about Buzz, worrying about the whole gang, that he can finally go be with Bo Peep. He can go finally live a life that he wants and not have to be restrained by Andy or by the other toys. That's why I love that line by Buzz at the end where he's like, she'll be okay. And he knew he wasn't talking about Bo Peep. He was talking about Bonnie. So again, I kind of understood now why people like this movie. It clicked for me finally, where I'm like, wow, I hated this fucking movie, like absolutely hated it. Automatically knew before I rewatched Toy Story 4, I knew in my head I was like, top is the bottom. It's the bottom. It's not even reaching past 5. Like it would have been a long gap between 5 and 4 in terms of just how much I really hated Toy Story 4. But now again, rewatching it, I go, no, I like this much more than I thought. Now, do I like it better than the other ones above it? No, I'm not going to go that far. But I will say it's no longer bottom anymore. It's a little bit above the top. The only thing I will say that I didn't like, if I had to pick any like just little nitpicks and negatives or whatever, there were some spots of the movie where I'm like, we're dragging, we're dragging this out a little bit. I feel like it could be a much shorter story. That's really about it, honestly. I couldn't find any, like, hardcore negatives or hardcore things that I'm just like, "Fuck this is stupid," but, like, there were moments where it's dragging, and there were moments where I'm like, "Okay, like, this is running its course a little bit." So, other than that, no, I enjoy Toy Story 4, and that's why it is at number 4. Starting off at number 3, um, number 3, we're gonna have the new kid on the block, Toy Story 5. Now, I don't wanna gush about this one too much because I just did a whole conversation about it in a video from a couple days ago, but I will reiterate here the Cliff Notes version. I really enjoy Toy Story 5. I thought it was really great. Of course, now mind you, these are my thoughts before seeing Toy Story 4. So when I came out of Toy Story 5, I was like, much better than Toy Story 4. Much better. Right direction. Let's go. But the main 2 things I loved about that movie was how they wrapped up Jessie's story, how they gave her closure about her owner from Toy Story 2. I loved that portion. The whole portion of that movie just got me tearing, got me crying because I love Jessie and I love her story from Toy Story 2 so much. And since you're going back to that and closing it up and closuring it, chef's kiss. And especially now that I am a fan of Toy Story 4 now, I really hope that's the direction that we go in. I really do. I really hope the direction we go in is Toy Story 4 was wrapping up Woody's story, giving him the closure he needed. Toy Story 5 now is wrapping up Jessie's story, giving her the closure, and come on, Toy Story 6 has gotta be about Buzz, because at that point, you would have an amazing 2 trilogies. You would have Andy's trilogy of 1, 2, and 3, and you'd have the Toys' trilogy of 4, 5, and 6, so Come on, Disney, make that happen. But talking about Toy Story 5, again, I enjoyed it. I thought the characters were great in this one. I thought Jesse's story was great. I liked how they brought back Woody. Did they need to bring back Woody? Not really, because it's not like a huge service of the story. But of course, it's nice seeing him in there. And I think the way they utilized him back was pretty nice. The only major things I still have problems with is Buzz and the Buzzes. I thought Buzz the whole time was just, he didn't do anything. And I'm like, okay, what are you doing? The whole time you're just trying to protect this bedroom because you think you're the sheriff in town because your girlfriend Jessie gave you that title, and then the whole movie you're trying to tell Jessie how you feel. That's the whole purpose of Buzz in the whole movie, and I'm like, that's stupid. That's so stupid. Again, I'd rather take Spanish talking Buzz from Toy Story 3 or the one in Toy Story 4 where he's listening to his inner voice and shit. I'd rather take that Buzz than this Buzz in Toy Story 5 because he didn't do nothing the whole movie other than just be like, oh, I want to tell you how I feel, Jessie, and yeah, like that's it. And then like bicker with Woody. That's it. Like, there's no point. And the same thing with the Buzzes, the whole army of defected Buzzes or whatever. The whole movie, I was scratching my head thinking, what are we doing? Where is this going? And of course, it has a really cool payoff at the end of the third act. It's cool. It's cool the moment that they have. But I'm like, so let me get this straight. You made a whole subplot, a whole side story for that one scene at the end. And that's the whole point, and that's the whole surface of these Buzzes that we've been following, is just so they can do that thing at the end. When you could have just like took all the Buzzes out entirely and come up with a whole different subplot or just a whole different direction that could have maybe like if you only made that subline of a story for that end right there where they do the one thing that gets them out of a pickle, that was the whole reason you wrote this whole subplot. Just to get them out of that pickle, I feel like you could have found a way better way to get them out of that little spot versus making an entire subplot that we cut back to throughout the whole movie. Because again, after they serve their purpose, they kind of fuck off, and it's like, okay, what was the point of that? There was no point of that. When I feel like you could have picked another toy, you could have picked another subplot that you could have focused on other than just random Buzzes that would come in the third act, do one thing, and now they're gone. That's the only major thing I really had with Toy Story 5. I thought everything else was pretty great. And of course, I walked out of a much higher praise since I hated Toy Story 4 so much. But now that I like Toy Story 4 much, I would say I do prefer Toy Story 5 over 4. But so that comes in at number 3. Coming in at number 2, we got the two big dogs. Coming in at number 2, it's got to be Toy Story 3. Now, I'm going to give you a preference. So this was the first Toy Story movie I ever saw in theaters. This movie came out in 2010. And I remember the hype for Toy Story 3, man. I mean, the hype. I remember looking at the Toy Story 3 website, constantly watching that first trailer, which was pretty sad. I remember even as like an 8, 9-year-old child, I was like, man, this is going to be a sad movie.
Watch out! No. Just keep playing. Just pretend I'm not here. Does the red light mean it's going?
I've been cold. I've been hungry. Now for a while.
But I had like anything and everything Toy Story you could think of. I had the video game, which they were remastering, which I can't wait to fucking play in like crisp HD. But I had like this little sticker book. I had Toy Story 3 trading cards. I had anything and everything at that time Toy Story 3 I could get my hands on. Coloring books, toys, like I was all in on the Toy Story hype. Because again, I loved Toy Story 2 and 1 so much as a kid. And then you had Toy Story 3 that was coming out that I could go see in theaters and get the merch and be a part of the hype. Hell yeah. And I remember the day they took me, I went to go see Toy Story 3 at my local Cinemark. And I remember the feeling of just, I already knew it was going to be a great movie just based off of the first like 5-10 minutes when we were in like Andy's little imagination. I remember being seated and just being like, wow, this is so cool. And then, just all the great moments that followed after that. I remember even as a kid, I was like, man, this is dark. But of course, I grew up watching horror since I was like 3-4 years old. So I'm like, this is pretty cool. It's horror. They brought horror into Toy Story. This is awesome. And so like, and I just remember absolutely falling in love with that movie. And I remember even too, as a kid, I think we all thought this is a universal experience as a Toy Story fan. I think we all thought they were going to burn those damn toys in the incinerator. Because I remember even as a kid, I sat there, I had my little Woody doll, and I was watching the movie. And I remember when that scene started to take place, I looked over at I think it was my mom or dad or somebody. I looked over and I was like, they can't kill the toys. No, they're going to kill them. They're going to kill them. But then, of course, they got saved and everything. But there's not much I could say, honestly, negatively about Toy Story 3, but I absolutely love Toy Story 3. I think it is the perfect trilogy ender. You cannot find a better closer to a trilogy or to a franchise. Because at the time, we thought this was the last movie. But the way they've just wrapped up these characters beautifully, still to this day, brings tears out of my eyes. Watching Andy play with the toys one last time and just the ending of the so long partner, and everything. And I'm like, damn. Like, it's one of the greatest trilogies. Like, and again, now that I do appreciate 4 and I do appreciate 5, I will always, like, if there was a gun to my head and someone asked, hey, would you delete Toy Story 4 and 5 to savor the trilogy of Toy Story 1 and 3, and 4 and 5 never happened? Fuck yeah. While I appreciate Toy Story 4 and 5, as you can see on my rankings, I'm always going to say, no, the trilogy, the 1 and 3 are the trilogy. We need that. Because it's a perfect trilogy, man. But yeah, just Toy Story 3, I loved Lotso. I loved the darkness of it. I thought the daycare segments were, as a kid, you're like, holy shit, they're destroying the toys and shit. But I liked everything about that movie. Like, there is nothing negatively about that movie, other than maybe a tiny little part. I don't like the little Spanish buzz part. I'm like, okay. Because I liked before then, when Lotso turned him evil again, now he was a villain. He was something that the toys had to, like, defend and shit. And I'm like, damn. But then it turned him Spanish. I'm like, okay. All right, then. Fuck me. But, like, even Lotso, like, as a villain, you understand his motive. That's why he's one of my favorite Toy Story villains. Like, if we were doing a ranking of all the Toy Story villains, he'd be number 1. Just because he has the most tragic backstory. You understand why he feels the way he does. Because, yeah, I think anybody would if you just get replaced, And of course, just no matter how many chances Woody and them gave him, he always fucking chose the wrong way. Like, even there at the end, he could have saved him with the trash compactor, and he still flipped the damn switch. And it's like, well, fuck you, Bear. Fuck you. And then, of course, he got what he fucking deserved, a mouthful of flies on the front of the truck. I would like to see one day what happened to him. Like, if he's still on the fucking hood of that truck or where he's at, I'd still love to see that. Yeah, you still 20, 30 years later got bugs in your eye, bitch. I absolutely love Toy Story 3. Like, if you would have asked me as a kid when I walked out of the theater, that would have been my number 1 easily. But I can't. I can't give it to number 1 because obviously y'all know what's left. Number 1 is Toy Story 2. Arguably one of the greatest sequels of all time, Toy Story 2. You cannot get any better than Toy Story 2. To the characters, to the theme, to just everything about that movie. They improved on the animation. They improved on the storytelling. They brought new characters in that are still in the franchise, still to this day. Like, I absolutely love Toy Story 2. That was my favorite, still is my favorite. I loved when they introduced Jessie. She became one of my instant favorite characters. Her backstory is so sad that even still to this day, when I think of the scene of When Somebody Loved Me and that whole segment, it still brings tears to my eyes. It brought tears to my eyes when they flashed back to it in Toy Story 5. So honestly, watching the OG scene, just, I love it. I love that. And then, as a kid, I loved finding out about Woody's backstory, how he was, part of the Woody's Roundup. And I loved that whole segment, Of course, I was, even as a kid, I wanted all that Woody merch. I was like, oh, I want the thing that you throw the ball and it cooks his teeth and shit. Like, I want that. All the little toys. Love that. As a kid, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's because I'm fucking fat or what, but I wanted to eat those damn Cheetos that, Woody knocked over when Al was sleeping. I wanted to eat those Cheetos. Those shit look good. But yeah, I and of course, as a kid, I always felt bad for Wheezy. And I was like, man, poor Wheezy. You're just stuffed behind a damn shelf and can't talk, and poor baby. But even to this day, I still quote the, I don't want to play with you anymore. Bye, Woody. Like, I always quote that. Even as a kid, I was like, oh, poor Woody. He just gets thrown in the garbage and then has these little hands shit's pulling him down. Damn, like, I don't know if it's because I connect with that movie on an emotional level, but like, that movie just brings out sadness into me because I'm like, I feel bad for everybody. I feel bad for Jessie and her backstory. I feel bad that Woody got fucking his shoulder cut, injured and shit. And then he got taken by Al, and like, the whole movie, I'm like, it's an emotional roller coaster every time I watch that movie. And I remember as a kid, even I was shocked at the prospector being the fucking villain. I was like, ooh. Oh, he could get out of that box the whole time. That little rat. Get him back in there. Of course, I love the fucking those little airport sequence with all the luggage and shit. Like still to this day, that's where my mind goes whenever, you know, I never use baggage claim. I've always been a carry-on person, but I always like to think that's what I still like still want to see what the inside of a fucking baggage claim area looks like. I bet it looks like that. Like in my head canon, that's what it looks like. All these damn conveyor belts of fucking, you know, suitcases and shit. I know it's not, but in my head canon is okay. Leave me the fuck alone. Now I cannot gush about this movie, Toy Story 2, much. This movie means a lot to me. It is absolutely my favorite of the whole franchise, and I was so happy. Maybe that's why I like Toy Story 5 so much, is because they called back to this movie so much, and because this is my favorite. I remember even as a kid, I liked the Star Wars callback. I was like, "That's from Star Wars." When he's like, "I'm your father." No, like I'm like, "That's Star Wars." So it's like you have a Star Wars reference in here, man. Even like I like that. So, but yeah, man, that is my ranking of all 5 of the Toy Story films. If you're still with me after you didn't click off where I put Toy Story 1, you know, thank you, God bless you, because I already know like half people said, "Oh, Toy Story 5." Or Toy Story 1's at 5, click. I'm like, okay, bye. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for joining me on this. I love this franchise to death. I cannot wait until we get a Toy Story 6, which again, theory on where I would like for them to go is do a story about Buzz so we can have a nice trilogy of the toys. I think that would be amazing. So you guys jump in the comments. You let me know, where do you rank these movies? Do you put Toy Story 1 at 1? Do you put Toy Story 3 at 5? Where do you put these movies? And as always, guys, I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.